Today we are getting our sprinklers turned on. It involves quite a few steps, so tag along for the ride. So over the winter we had our sprinklers blown out. Obviously that's necessary during the freezing temperatures when some of the lines or valves could get frozen and burst. So assuming you got your sprinklers blown out in the winter, the people who did it probably shut off your main valve. So that's going to be our first step in checking our sprinklers and getting them turned on this spring, is to open that valve. This is the best wrench they make. Notice it's thick and big. Don't buy the chintzy little metal one that's very thin. It's going to be real difficult to open the valves. So once you get the right tool at the right length, we're going to open up that valve. It's a little tricky to find. Sometimes I use my flashlight. Make sure it's off. Good. Sometimes they don't turn it on. All right, I think I've got it on. I'm gonna twist it lefty-loosey to open it up. It's a quarter turn. Don't try to turn it more. You're gonna break the whole valve and you're gonna have a serious issue. So just a quarter turn. Perfect. The pressure you heard there was the main valve turning on up here. So that we have pressure here now, and then pressure here and here. So let's take a look at our filter and our valves and make sure everything's good to go to get those sprinklers going. Okay, here's our valve. Surprisingly, it is super clean. We will need to clean that again. I'm not even gonna mess with it right now because you can see there's nothing really in there. We'll need to clean that once I run through a couple sprinkler zones, because the start of the irrigation water that's coming in is gonna be full of debris. So this will need to get cleaned pretty quickly. And that's the other thing with these sprinklers, is we have irrigation water, which is not city water. There's a couple advantages of that. Because it's irrigation, we're gonna have quite a bit of debris coming through. Here's our valves. And everything's looking good here. If you're curious, we have 3 main zones here. This little doohickey is an extra filter for our low pressure drip line that we have to our garden. And that filter will need to be cleaned as well. So, now that we have pressure, let's manually turn these valves and see how the sprinklers are looking. So this is our backyard zone. As you can see, it's looking like it needs some water, so this is perfect timing. Whenever you check your zones, you're looking for, first of all, any leakages that may have happened, and then making sure your sprinklers are moving. Sprinklers they make these days are not very quality. I'm replacing these gear dry sprinklers probably every other year. Unfortunately, that's the grade of quality that they're making these days. So you want to make sure and test them, because if you don't make sure they're moving, you're gonna have dry spots popping up real quickly. So it looks like we have one that's not gonna be rotating. That's gonna need to be replaced. I'll walk around to each one of them and check for that. I'm gonna reset this one. Nah, it's done. I was gonna reset it, but it's done.
So you're gonna have
It's officially dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Change it out.
Yep. So this one isn't moving either. Sometimes you can reset them, just turn them to the left. No, never mind. It's done. Okay, this one wasn't moving, but I was able to reset it. I just turned it to the left until it stopped. And so right now it's turning, but I'll need to keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't peter out. Sometimes it's better off just replacing it, but I've already got 2 that I need to do, so.
And can you tell everybody how much it costs to replace them?
Sure, the sprinklers are about 12 to 15 bucks. They do make some that are more quality. They have stainless steel in there. I'm still experimenting with it to see if it's worthwhile. I'm gonna unscrew the low pressure filter because that definitely needs to get cleaned. I did not clean this last year. Let's see how dirty it is. It's the problem with irrigation, you get a lot of debris, but these filters are awesome. They really work good, and that's pretty dirty. So I'm gonna go in the sink and scrub that out. And then we'll check our line for our drip sprinklers for our garden.
So he put flags right here to mark where the sprinklers are, the sprinklers that we need to replace. And here's the second one. So out of all of them, there are 2 that we have to replace.
All right, this is clean enough. I'm gonna set that back in. All right, filter's on. Let's check our drip zone. These valves are nice. I mean, technically you don't need this tool. You can grip it and turn it, but sometimes it's nice, like if it's in the corner or something, it gives you extra leverage.
Could you explain to them what a drip zone is?
Yeah, drip zone is where you use drip sprinklers. So any sprinkler that just drips, you've got to lower the pressure and also have a filter, an extra filter that will prevent them from being clogged and also lower the pressure so it doesn't blow the drip.
The drip sprinkler system is basically for our garden, flowers, stuff like that, our herbs.
So you can see the drip's working good. This is, there's tons of drip options. As you can see, this is a long strand that has little holes every once in a while, compared with this, which is a nozzle at the end. And this one looks like it needs to be replaced. Despite all those filters, they still get clogged. And it's a good thing because these are easy to replace. You just cut it off and slide a new one on there. See, this one's working just fine still.
And so this is for our vegetable garden.
All right, last sprinkler to test. It's the front zone. And let's go in the front and check it out. And just like the backyard, we're gonna go to each sprinkler, make sure it's moving still.
He just said, this one's fine, and this one's fine.
So you may have noticed some of these sprinklers moving fast, some moving slow. I've used 3 different styles of sprinklers or brands: Rainbird, Hunter, and K-Rain. And you know, I've just experimented with different ones to make sure they're working good. Still haven't found the best brand. Move to the left, reset it, and hopefully it'll work.
Okay, so he just moved it to the left to reset it.
It's not moving.
So this one's not moving. He said it's done. We got to replace that one.
So far we've got 4 I need to replace. That's about 50-60 bucks right there. It's kind of a pain in the butt.
And he said that's pretty standard. It's usually about 4 a year that we have to replace.
All right, so another system for the irrigation is the timer. Now what we saw back there were the valves, and those valves have wires, and they traveled all the way under the ground, around the side of the house, out the house, and through the house right here, and connected to this. This is our electrical low voltage timer. There are lots of varieties of timers, but they all basically show the same things. What time it is, when you want the zones to start, how long you want each zone to go. So you will go through and adjust those accordingly. Since we had 3 zones, you can see when I turn it to my zone 1, I happen to have it for 30 minutes, zone 2 for 40, and zone 3 for 25. Each zone really has a personality, and it all depends on what sprinklers you're using. So you can vary these quite a bit, anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour and 15. Since we've lived here for 13 years, I've got the system dialed in so I know what to do. I make the seasonal adjustments when it's high temperatures in July. I know to increase the time, but really you have to figure out your system and how you want your time to fit. To set your times, you can adjust it with the up and down arrows. And another button up here that you'll need at some point is the manual start. You remember when we went to the back and I manually opened the valves? Well, you can also do that here with manual start for your timer to get a certain zone on that you want. A couple other features of this timer. Right now I have it on auto, which is every day. You can also set it to custom and choose which days you want the sprinklers on. I like watering every day. Over here we also have program start times. I definitely like to water in the morning, but everyone has their little deal of what they think. The reason I like watering in the morning is so it can dry out during the day. Sometimes when you water at night, the moisture leads to fungus in your lawn. So water in the morning. You can also water more than once a day if you would like. All right, today we are gonna finally finish those sprinklers. They need to be replaced. I've got two different styles. The backyard uses Rainbird 5000s. The front uses Rainbird 3500s. So let's get started on this one in the back. Now, if you remember, the problem was it wasn't rotating very much and it was sticking. So they just need to be replaced. I found about a lifespan of about 2 years on average for them. And I've been doing this a long time, so I know the quickest system to do it. As you can see, we're already making progress to exposing the old sprinkler and getting ready to put the new one in. Basically, you want to dig around, get the dirt around, but be careful not to cut the line of the 1/2 inch line that's going into this nice sprinkler. The other thing you'll notice when you replace sprinklers is they spray out a lot better. You know, despite all the filters, things that we have in place, there's still a lot of debris. And there's another filter inside each one of these sprinklers that gets clogged. So it's kind of nice to get a new one. Sprays nice. You want to dig up most of the dirt, pretty much all of it, because you don't want dirt to fall in, because that will just clog up your next sprinkler. So the fitting is exposed, screwing it on. You don't have to screw it on very tight at all. In fact, you want to leave a little extra because you'll need to adjust it in the end. And it's ready to go to start adjusting now. The other thing I want to do is our grass level rises a little bit as it grows, and so these sprinklers kind of get stuck down a little bit. So this is just a little low. So I'm gonna do a little digging to try to raise it up a little bit. And keep in mind, you don't want to cut your line. You know, it's under there, under the dirt there, but just got to be careful. You can kind of work it a little, try to raise it up just a little bit. Sometimes you'll need to put a riser on it, but this wasn't too low, so just raise it up enough. I can put a little rock here to make it straight. All right, now we're ready to adjust the sprinkler. Here's our old one. I'm gonna see what size of nozzle it has to match it up so it's the same. So you'll see the number there. It says 3.0, and keep in mind my screw is screwed down. You wanna do it the same on the one you're installing. So I need a 3.0 nozzle, which is the standard size, and then I'll screw my screw in that deep. Here's my nozzle hole. Here is my 3. And just slides right in on this Rainbird 5000. And then you'll use your tool to screw the screw about the same. Now that the nozzle's in, we're gonna adjust it. These have a left stop. So you wanna go to the left and find out where it stops. If you don't like where it goes, just screw it. Remember I said don't screw it in very tight? That way you have some wiggle room to screw so that you get this left stop where you want it. Okay, I've got my left stop started there, and then it's gonna spray all the way to the right, and it's gonna stop there. Believe it or not, this is already adjusted. If I need to adjust it more, you go to the left stop, and then if you screw this screw, it will start moving it to where you want it to stop there. So here I have it pointed stopping there. But obviously there's grass behind the camera, so I'm gonna make it go all the way with a couple twists of the screw. Back to the left stop to reset it, just that. All right, right there. So you don't even need to turn them on. You can see where it's gonna spray just by twisting it. Make sure you twist it all the way each time though. This little guy shows where it's gonna be spraying. All right, now we're gonna fill in the dirt. It's best to do these sprinkler adjustments early in the season. That way your grass stays alive. But obviously you have to do it whenever you need it. So, as necessary. And then we'll just plop this right back on. And it's ready to go and replaced. So this one's pretty much ready. I like to pour a gallon of water on because we just shocked this grass, and water is help for the grass to make sure it comes back strong. It may get brown here, which is why I told you to try to get these replaced in the spring before the growing season starts, but at least the water will try to jumpstart it and get it back going again.
So if you can see, this is our drip system, and so you can kind of see the water dripping out, our vegetables coming up right here too. You can see we got some tomatoes coming up. So the drip system works out great. So right now he is going to show you how to install the drip system where we want it, like a longer one. See how short this one is?
All right, here's our drip system. We're gonna replace this one, put a little bit longer one on it, get it to work better. So it's gonna be a little tricky pulling this out. It will probably break, which is fine. There's a little pressure left. Yeah, it did break. Here's half of it. All right, there's already a hole in there. If there weren't, you just use this tool. It's an amazing tool. And you make your own hole as it goes in. They've definitely advanced the technology on these. There's already a hole, so it should go in fine without it, but I'll use it just to show. You just push it in and it'll seal up. Now that one's ready to attach a longer 1/4 inch drip line. And it just fits on snug like that. And then on the other end we'll put our emitter. These emitters range in different gallons per hour. I got the 2 gallon per hour. This comes on a little strong, but it's fine. Now it's ready to be tested.
Looks like it's working out great. So I planted some seeds, so hopefully the vegetables will be coming up, and this little handy drip system is helpful.
Well, thanks for joining us today in our exploration around the sprinkler systems that we've got at this place with our great irrigation water. There's probably a lot of variances depending on what products you use and what systems look like. If you have any questions, write them down below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.